Okay, the first thing we're going to need to do is open up your HRC Connect app. I have a lot of apps on my phone, so I got to find it. There we go. All right, so first when you open up, we're going to start with the home screen. So on the home screen, you're going to find these tabs right here. The top one, Give to Hopewell Reformed Church. If you click on that, it brings you right to our giving page. Make it easy for you. You could pay with Apple Pay. You can pay with a credit card, debit card. You could store a bank account. You could store that information online. You can make regular, weekly, monthly, every 2 weeks, twice a month. Frequency can change. You can set the fund to whichever fund you would like, and you just type in $100 and continue to give, and it'll give your bank account. It'll ask you for your bank account or credit card information there. And then you submit that, and you're also going to get email confirmation for all those donations. So you could keep track of that at the end of the year. If anyone takes advantage of the tax write-off for the donations for the church, that will be in your records, even though Hopewell does send you a report as well. You don't need to wait for that. You can have that there. And if you do a regular giving, it's going to remind you that the giving is going to happen. So if, say, you schedule it to be processed on the Sunday, it'll tell you on Friday that it will be taking it out of the account, and before it actually does so. And you can change that or make adjustments to that before they actually take it out. Next, we're going to go to the Pray tab on the home screen. That's just going to bring you right to the website. So it opens up another screen where you can add your prayer requests to the board, just like you can on the website, and go from there. Going back into the app, I'm new. That's going to be where you're going to find information on Hopewell Reformed Church, and what to wear, meet the pastor, get involved. You could, you click here to join a group. When you do that, you're going to get to a group lookup tab where you can search all the various groups that you can join. I need help. One of the biggest reasons why we discussed having this app was to provide more of a community feel. As you could probably tell by my personality, I'm a pretty outgoing guy, but I know that that's not the case for everybody. And sometimes it's difficult to understand what is available from the church. But I think the number one thing that we should all be thinking about is how to provide help and support to those that need it in our community. And, these are the different examples of how we could provide or scenarios where we can help individuals, whether it's getting people to professional help, or having sessions with the pastor, or there's various other options that we could provide. But this is just to show you. And then if you click here to because you do want some help, it's going to bring you to a contact tab. You just give us as much or as little information as you'd like, and we will get back in touch with you. It's going to go to Mary Ann in the office, and sit. So just be aware. If it is confidential, there's going to be another place for that, or just don't give that much information. Just explain that you're looking for some help, and Mary Ann will have will set up and get you to the right individual that can help you. But of course, everything is confidential, so don't feel like you need to if you're not too worried about it. The last tab here is going to be discussing about Odyssey Church. Send you to the website if you would like. And just this tab is really just for information purposes for anybody who's new here, and get a feel for what we have at the church. Next, children and youth. This page was recently created, but basically, again, it's information purposes to let people know what we offer. The pictures will be changed to more HRC pictures, but right now we're working on that in the back end. So again, you could see that we offer Sunday school, nursery care. You're able to send an email directly to Linda. Her number's here as well. But when you send that email, as you could tell, it comes right there. And whichever place that you click it, it's going to put the subject line that, hey, you're inquiring about nursery care versus, versus when you do Sunday school, it's now going to say that you're going to inquire about Sunday school. So that's a little nifty trick that we have here. It talks about our family room for people that want to utilize that. We're going to be live streaming, as Pastor Doug mentioned, in the room right past the kitchen. So, if you have kids, feel free to go there at any point in time at any service, even if it's not for the whole thing. For mothers that are breastfeeding or anything else, if you just needed to get away from the service but didn't want to miss something great that Pastor Doug or anyone else is saying, jump into that room at any point in time and come back to the service when you're ready. Then for the youth, of course, talking about the youth groups and what's available and contact information there. This help and training tab is just going to turn into a contact us tab eventually, where it'll be very similar, where people can just contact the church about any information, any questions that they have, so on and so forth. The next is going to be where you're going to see the live services. Right now, there isn't a live service going, but it tells me that in 2 days, 21 hours, 32 minutes, and 35 seconds, I'll be able to watch the live service, the Sunday live service. Now, as we get more advanced, I do believe that we're going to live stream more events at Hopewell Reformed Church. And so it won't just be so that you can just see the service, but maybe, youth group goes on an event or maybe we go on a mission trip. There may be possibilities that we can live stream those events as well. And you'll be notified if you have notifications turned on in your app, about 5 minutes before the event happens, you're going to get a notification through your phone saying that we're going to be going live, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, upcoming events. You see here, we got a few events, Sunday school registration. So if you haven't done so already, register your children so we can keep track of that. I think what we envision in the future, I'm not going to speak for Linda, but as I understand it from Mary Ann, she could correct me. I do believe that eventually we will be checking the kids in to the class to keep records of the children that are attending and the days that they attend. Same thing with the nursery. So once they're registered, they'll be into our system and we could easily check them in when that time is. Also, we have a fall festival coming up in November. We have a turkey dinner in November 9th, and you can register for that here. And there's a men's fellowship breakfast, and then, of course, the upcoming midnight run. And how that's set up is, I'll run you through that real quick. When you register, you're able to sign up to go on the trip. That's great. Looks like we have a lot of people that have already signed up. That's wonderful. I appreciate that, and that's amazing that we have that already. Mike or Nelson, and if you can, please sign up to drive the church van, because we will need that. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, you could sign up right now. There's one available to make turkey and no cheese sandwiches, and one available to make 25 ham and cheese sandwiches. And then, of course, we've also added in here where you could help the church to donate for the gas and tolls. We do have some money set aside in our budget for the year, but it doesn't quite cover all the gas and tolls for the year. So if you're inclined, don't feel pressured. Say you don't have any clothes to donate, but you want to get involved somehow, feel free, and you can just donate, $10 as many times, or either $10, $20, or whatever, to go towards the gas and tolls of that event. But as you can see, streamlining this process is going to make life easier for everybody. You don't have to feel like you're in the know, or who do you need to contact to go to an event. You just have to go on the app, and all that information will be there. All right, so going back to the app. All right, so that covers the home tab there, right? So I will end this video here and move on to the next training, which will be okay. So we're gonna go. This is just gonna be creating your profile, right? So if you go to the top right-hand side of this app, right now you see a picture of the Orocho family. If you didn't update this, I'm sure it's just going to be a circle there with your initials. You're going to click on that circle, and this is where you're going to find your profile, right? And if you signed up for any of the events, it would be here. Any of your inbox notes that you've taken, downloads that you downloaded in the past. This is where you can manage your notification preferences. So if you go here, right now I have it marked on, so I get notifications. Privacy policy. This is where you can share the app through anyone else. And if you want any technical support from Subsplash themselves, you can get it here as well. But for us, we're going to focus on your profile. See this little, all the way to the right, it looks like a pencil. You're going to click that pencil for edit your profile. And this is where you are going to be able to update. You're going to be able to add a picture by clicking on the little picture button, wherever your picture would be. I think it's valuable to have a picture on there. So, people don't know people's names. So once we start communicating through the app, it'll allow people to sort of see who you are. You're going to add, any personal details. It's up to you what you want to add. Of course, this will be shared with the back office of the church. And you can update your password and the email address associated with it here. So that's where that's going to be. And feel free to edit that as well. Okay, so now let's open back up our app. Go back to the home page. So the next training I'm going to be doing is on the bottom tabs. So look, it says home, events, media, Bible, give, right? So we've already went over most of these, but these are just another way to get to the same tabs right from the bottom. So home, of course, is the page that we're on. Events is similar to this, it's same from the homepage, but it's just another way to get to events, maybe a little bit easier, maybe more difficult, but just so it's down there. Now the next is the media tab. This over time is going to become more and more robust as we continue to customize and archive the sermons. The first thing I want you to take a look at is through series. So right now we have a few different series set up. We are going to be editing every service so that you have the opportunity to view services at a later date, but only the sermon, right? Maybe some people like to, I know live people like to be part of the entire service, but if you wanted to go back in time and look at just the sermons that may have stuck out with you, you're going to click on sermon only. And we now have categorized the ones that we've edited so far into titles that coincide with what the sermon was about. So last week, as you can see, October 20th from the 10:30 a.m. service, even the tiniest faith can cause your faith to grow. When you click on that, you now see that Doug was the speaker. You can also categorize with the speaker, and you could also see that the Bible verses from that sermon, so that you are able to follow along or read along on your own. Now, of course, it gives you the date and that it's the sermon only. You could download the video. There's really not, I can't think of any instances of why you would want to download it, but if you wanted to keep a log or save the sermons yourself, you can always do that. You could also give right from here. Say that you went back in time and you saw a sermon that really helped you out and it really touched you. You're able to give right from this. You just say, hey, I really need to give back to Hopewell Reformed Church because this sermon really touched me and I made a difference in my life. You can give based off of that sermon. When you click on that, it brings you right to the giving app as discussed. And you could also click on here. You could see, click on Doug, and you will then see all the services that Doug has that Doug was the speaker on. So, for Doug, it's not going to be that valuable because he's going to be the majority there. But if there's guest speakers that come every so often and you want to be a part of that, then or you want to see other times that they spoke in Hopewell Reformed Church, that's going to be the case. Now, we're not going to go back and do this for years and years ago. This is really just going forward. So it's really just going to be over time that we're going to that this is going to become valuable. You could take notes on a particular video. So say that you wanted to remember something. Now, every time you personally in your app go back to that sermon, your notes are going to be there. Or maybe you didn't want to forget to tell Doug about something in the sermon that really touched you. Feel free to take a note and go from there. Also, the share button is very important in those tabs as well. Sharing will allow you to easily send that to a friend, and they will then be able to be able to view that video as well. So that's for sermon only. I think that, for me personally, I think, if I went back in time to try to look at these, what I would be focused on is the sermon aspect, of that. Then also there's sermon short clips in series as well, which will, as time goes on, we'll get more and more. Of course, this is the famous Doug rapping. Let's pull this up in training so we can see.
And broke it. They called the police. He was in jail for domestic abuse and hip hop. And so I was like, okay, I need to figure out
really
how to
hear
relate
it,
to
but
these kids. Against. I've been protested and demonstrated.
Well, he's rapping. So if you want to go back and view that, the only reason why you can hear it, you can't hear it because since I'm recording, it's not playing over speakerphone. But if I wasn't recording this, it would be loud where you can do it. Now, one thing that people you probably see as annoying is when you close out, it's the video still plays in the background, but no issue. All you have to do is see these little bars that are going up and down in the top right-hand side. You click on those, and all you got to do is press pause, and then that won't continue playing if you forget to press pause. So yeah, that's small clips. They're anywhere from 30 seconds to 3 minutes of where, maybe some clips that really stick out with you. When we go over groups, I'm going to give you there'll be ways where you can suggest what that short clip should be for that service. If some statement really stuck out to you, let me know, and we'll do that. So we made one for last week. Faith even the side of a mustard seed. Feel free to look at that clip. Again, it's just for short clips to really get the essence. It's a good thing to share with family and friends, maybe even those that don't believe or have faith. It'll allow them to see sort of snippets of why we believe in what we believe. And then the rest is on the bottom for series. For the full services, we are categorizing them through the scripture. So it's so if you go to any of say you're focusing on John, chapter of John, and you want to see some old services that focus on that, you click on that, and then it'll pull up various services that we preached, or that Doug or other people here. We have Tim. We all remember Tim. He Going back to the media side, one thing that I also think is really interesting. So if we go to one of these videos and we click on the verses, so see where it says October 20th, you go to where the verses are, it's going to open up the Bible app for you, and those are going to be right there for you to read as well. So that's also a great thing. So you don't have to open up your Bible on the side. That's right there. Next, we're going to the Bible tab at the bottom. This is what I think is going to be very valuable as well. One of the things I really like here, and when we get into groups, we're going to discuss this more, but there is a daily Bible study plan that, if followed 365 days a year, it will allow you to finish the Bible in 365 days. So it doesn't provide a lot for you to read, but it's enough for you to be able to get the gist of what's there. So say for today, it's Job Act 16, and this is the readings for today. Now, one thing that I love is this little play button at the bottom. I, for one, I get very tired when I read. So this allows me, maybe you're at the gym, and you're working out on your headphones instead of listening to, Eminem or any of your other favorite artists. Why not listen to the Bible? And you can just click play, and it will start
Chapter
reading
16.
those passages.
Then Job answered and said,
as opposed to reading it.
I have heard many such things.
But
miserable comforters
how
are you all.
I think would be really
Shall windy
great,
words have
which
an
we
end?
created a group for this,
Or what
is if
provokes
everyone
you
as
that
a
you answer?
congregation, if we all
I also could speak as you do if you
committed
were in my
to being a
place.
part of
I
this
could
Bible
join
study.
words
Hey, if you
together
miss a
against
day,
you and
miss a
shake
week,
my head at
maybe
you.
even miss a
I
month,
could
just
strengthen
pick it
you
back
with my
up.
mouth, and the
And
solace of
and we
my
can
lips would
discuss what was
assuage your
discussed in
pain.
that day.
If I speak,
it'll
my
keep us
pain is
all on
not
the same,
assuaged. And if I forbear,
the same,
how much of it leaves me?
Keep us on the same path of what we're reading, and it'll allow us to create discussions outside of the Sunday service. So you could also change between the different versions of the Bible right there. And yeah, that's it. So then on the giving tab at the bottom, right next to the Bible, this is what we already discussed. Same thing, just another way to get to it. You could set up your weekly, monthly, bi-weekly giving to Hopewell Reformed Church. Say you attend an event and it really touched you. Just open up your app. You don't need to ask of donations or anything else. You just send it right in, and that'll get sent to the HRC account. And it'll also be saved to your records so that you can use that for the end of the year, tax write-off purposes. All right, that covers the bottom tabs. And in the next video, we'll Okay, so this training is going to be what I think the most used, hopefully, down the line part of the app. We're still working with group leaders to get this sorted, and feel free to approach me at any point in time if you want to utilize this functionality for your groups. Please reach out to me and I will make sure to set it up. It helps a lot to set it up in front of the individual, because it requires an invite to create the manager of that group, and that invite is temporary. So if it's not accepted in a period of time, I think it's 48 hours, then that invite goes away, and we basically have to create a whole nother group. So if you're already not shown as the manager of the group that you're the manager of, contact me and we'll get it set up the right way. So all the way at the top where it says HRC Connect and then those lines, the next button or the next looks like a chat box. So you're going to click that chat box. Now, when you click on that chat box, what's going to come up on the left-hand screen for most people here, all that is going to be blank, because that means that it is a group that you're a part of, that you can have conversations with people. Since I created most of these groups, I'm a part of, a lot of them. So this is where, where you're right now, you're toggled under conversations. You're going to move over to Discover. Now, Discover is going to bring you to all the different groups that you can be a part of. So this is the beautiful part of this app, is what I talked about in other trainings, is the ability to know and be aware of what's going on and what's offered through Hopewell Reformed Church without having to be in the know, right? All you have to do is have this app and you'll be able to see what's there. And also, you don't need to search down and hunt down who the organizer of different groups are. If you're interested in something, all you have to do is click on that group, and then you can either join them, but there are some groups that require require membership be approved by the group manager, and in that instance they would get notified that you're interested in the group, and if they wanted to talk to you about that further before letting you in, they can contact you and you can talk directly about it. But the majority of groups are going to be open to anybody, so you can just join those groups and start conversing with managers and other people part of those groups within Hopewell Reformed Church, and get and start helping to serve or being involved in these groups by just a click of a button. So you can look up a group by their name. So if you want to look up Bible studies, we can look up Bible study, and we're going to see various Bible studies that are offered through Hopewell Reformed Church. Or you could go through types. When you click on types, you see these different ways, whether it's a small group, groups that allow you to be able to serve the community, grow in faith, and community is the one I want to focus on right now, right? So this is how, these are the groups that are helping to build the community in HRC, which really every small group does. But for purposes of what we're doing here, let's just look at all the different community groups that we offer. Sorry, it's still searching Bible study. So all the community groups. All right. So I encourage you right this second, or when you get home and you have some chance to look at any of these groups, to join the groups here that you think mean something to you. So prayer requests, even though we have a process of going to our website and getting prayer requests, sometimes a prayer request may be needed a little bit more immediately, right? So I think every person in the congregation who believes in prayer should be part of this group. And as this group grows, anybody can make an instant prayer request to other people in that group. And basically, once you're in that group and a message is sent in that group, you are going to get a notification that a message is there, and you will be able to reply to that notification. You could also send Bible verses through the Bible app. So like if you see the message right now, there's no messages. Please pray for my friend Ian. He is struggling with having a baby. Sorry, this is a real prayer request I have. My buddy Ian and his wife Kathy they're on their third IVF, and they need some prayers. So I'm going to throw that into the group. Now, right now, I'm the only person in the group, so I'm not going to be notified about that. But you see, all you could do, you could say, confirm that you're praying for them by the simple prayer emoji. Hey, Lewis, I'm praying for you. Hey, I want to add, you could even ask for a specific I want to send him a passage that I think could help him out with this, right? So again, I'm just going to go back to that. I'm going to click that plus button next to the emoji, and I'm going to go to the passage, and I'm going to say, hey, Lewis, read Joel 2. I think this could be helpful if you read 8, 9, and 10. I'm going to send that over to him. And now, when I click on that, I could read those passages and I could see, hey, that is helpful. Thank you. I don't know what this probably isn't helpful to this instances. No, this is about war. But anyway, so I think these are great. You could send a file, any pictures that you have. Look at my cutie pies. But just to give an example. And this is really interesting in this won't really be used for prayers, right? But for other groups, you can have a poll, right? So do you believe faith the size of a mustard seed is enough? Yes. No. I'm just using an example from the last one. Now, everyone in that group is going to receive that poll, and we'll get the answers to that at the end, right? Also, for Bible studies, this would be a great way to have questions with multiple choice answers, just to spark conversation. Sometimes with long form answers, people don't like, but it'll allow you to spark conversations. And I voted, yes for this. And I believe the who voted for what is confidential, so you don't have to worry about that. So that's another great, a great thing that these groups can do. So that's if you want. I encourage everyone to join the prayer request and community. Next, if you ever need help or training for the app, this is going to go directly to me. So join this group and say, I need help updating my profile. And I'm going to get that message, and I will respond either here or we'll set up a phone call, and I'll walk you through this. Now, this is not going to be for everyone at the church. Hopefully, it's not for the majority of people in this church, but we want this option here because God forbid, if you're ever in a situation, obviously 911 should be your first call at all instances, right? So we're not here to replace 911, but we want to give you an outlet. If you feel very lost or in a very bad place for whatever reason, we want you to know that you're not alone. Now, the one thing to be aware of is if others join this group, your messages will be seen. So all we ask that if you're in a position and say you want this confidential and you don't want others to be able to see it, just put your phone number in here. And myself, other elders or deacons, if you're an elder or deacon, you should be joining this group, or anyone else involved in prayer, in leadership. We will give you a call right away once we see you put your number in that chat. Someone from our church will be calling you ASAP if we receive a message that you need help from this group. So, use it sparingly, but be aware that you have people. We know someone that has either been through, going through, or got over any situation that you may be thinking of. So if you're ever in need of help, this is the group that you just, all you do is you join it, send your number if you want to be descriptive because you just need to get it out. We can assure you that we will use discretion if it's something pressing. But this is used for if you have a pressing issue and you really want to be a part, and you really need someone to reach out to you because you feel really lost or just need help. But again, 911 should be your first call if it's something an emergency. But after that, we're there for you. This is the next group, HRC Connect, is one that everyone should be joining. This is where we're going to have conversations about what is going on with sermons. Everyone, anybody could comment. Maybe Doug will be part of this group and he'll throw out a poll about one of his sermons that we can talk about. The idea is yes, we go to church every Sunday, but we need God every day of the week, right? And I'm sure that in the 6 out of the 7 days, the last thing that's getting thrown at us from this world is God or Jesus, right? It's most of the things that are in front of us or being thrown in front of us are not quite as positive, right? So this will allow us to extend faith beyond Sundays. And maybe people don't want to do that, and that's fine. I still think you should join the group. I think everyone in the congregation should join this group and see what's being said. And the number one thing I ask, zero politics, please. I think one of the great parts about Hopewell Reformed Church is people from every walk of life, whether it's financial or political view, it can come into the same place and worship God the same way. So please take anything controversial and keep it to faith and God, right? If something serious is going on in the world and we need to pray for it, that's another story. But anything that has to do with politics or anything controversial, keep it out of the app. Discuss that over the phone with people that you feel comfortable with discussing that, but keep it off of the community of Hopewell Reformed Church. All right, so everyone should be joining HRC Connect. We can talk about the sermons and anything else that we want to talk about throughout there. And then lastly is the Bible study, right? This, I'm not going to say this should be for everyone, but I do think that there's value in everyone being a part of this. And even if you're not following along to the daily Bible study in the app, I think that it could provide value to hear what other people are talking about, because you may see people talking about a topic and saying, hey, I didn't know this was discussed in the Bible. And then it'll get you interested in maybe reading a little bit more or being a part of that down the line. But again, anything in community is open for everyone to join. So those are the community ones. Again, to serve you'll find if you wanted to serve, these are different things that we need help with. If you want to help with Vacation Bible School, if you want to help with any of the missions, Midnight Run, if you want to be part of the Midnight Run group, if you are going to be attending any of the runs, or if you've attended any of the runs and you want to be, or if you just want to be in the know what's going on with Midnight Run, join this group. Same with any other group that's similar, and get update information about timing or what's going on, and we'll send pictures in the group so people can see us, in other people in congregation can see what's going on there, right? So that's where these are different areas where we can serve either locally or nationally or even internationally. Grow in Faith is just another way that we can be a part of these small groups that will help us grow in faith, right? Which every small group will help us do that and everything. So I know that was a lot of information. I do believe this is going to be the most important part of that. If you need me to add a group or want to go into further detail about any of the groups, or try to join a group, see what happens, right? And we'll go from there. But again, we'll have an addiction support group, a couples group, so anybody who's maybe in an addiction program, it'll sort of see who else in the church. I know there's an anonymity aspect of this, but again, if you're comfortable with that, people in the church knowing, I would only join this group if you're either admitting to actively being in addiction and you want help, or if you're in a recovery program yourself. All right. I think that's